This is some fucked up shit. The Mortuary Assistant is a first-person video game developed by Darkside Digital and published by Dread XP, released in 2022. At first I didn't think much of the game, your average horror. After all, the Japanese horror was much more popular at the time, and it was all over the place via various indie games and so on and so forth. I mean, you just go on Steam and you see the plethora that is offered to you there, but hear me out. The Mortuary Assistant caught my eye in a sense of it being morbidly entertaining. Can I say that? I think I can. And recently I saw a trailer, a very recent release, The Mortuary Assistant. I did not expect this game to get a film adaptation, but here we are, in its own. This is a horror game where you play as Rebecca, a newly certified mortician tasked with embalming corpses overnight at the haunted Riverfields mortuary. The year is 1998. What begins as a routine work quickly devolves into a fight against demonic possession and nightmarish forces interfering with your duties. The game blends mundane mortuary tasks, which are quite interesting on their own, in my not-so-humble opinion, with escalating supernatural dread, randomized events, demon identification, and exorcism puzzles. The game has multiple endings, which I also always enjoy in a game, albeit a visual novel or like this first-person game that you have tasks you need to perform, right? And things depend, the endings mainly depend on what you choose to do or not to do and how you do it. Sure, there are a handful of decent screamers, I believe. Usually I kind of give such games a pass because I am not that easily disturbed, frightened, dare I say, when it comes to screamers. And screamers on their own, being an instrument of dread, we here on this channel, check that book, usually talk about the disturbing, and well, screamers aren't that disturbing unless you're completely new to the concept and you're like, what, 12? Welcome to the world of adults. Too early for that, too early for that. If you're 12, you shouldn't be watching this channel, darling. Come back a few years later. A film adaptation by Jeremiah Kemp, a new name in this industry for me at least. I've never heard of him before. And the trailer, I'll link it in the description below. Go watch it. It looks good. I've learned not to expect too much from a trailer. We do have, by the way, a trailer for the new upcoming Silent Hill movie. They say it's by the same director, Christophe Gans, who made the good one, the good Silent Hill movie. The first one, the only decent one, which I've spoken about in my slightly bigger Silent Hill video. If you're interested in that, the links for all of my videos about disturbing games will be in the description below, and Silent Hill in particular, I do highly recommend you check it out. I try my best not to give out just my opinion and my view on the games or films or books in my videos. I try to present you with as many facts and layouts as possible and just introduce you to it to the best of my ability so that you guys know whether you want to waste your time on it. So that first you waste your time on me. The developers of the game stated that they were inspired by found footage horror, specifically Paranormal Activity. That was a major stylistic influence, according to the developers. Their task was not to replicate the format, but rather to evoke the same inevitable dread that it could happen to you. This emphasis on subtle ambient terror over overt scares helps root the game's tension in real-world plausibility. About the game itself and the concept, why is it disturbing? I mean, sure, it's classified as horror, but why do I find this game disturbing? Well, because not many people are aware and familiar with the works of morticians and mortuary assistants, right? Not many people get into it. Not many people want to even hear about such topics, right? So if you're sensitive, then you probably shouldn't have clicked on this video, but here you are. And I had a good friend, close personal acquaintance, let's call her that. She was cool and she wanted to study pat anatomy and become a mortician. Unfortunately, I've lost contact with her, but I had a friend like that who was genuinely interested in the subject matter. And I remember asking, why would you want to do something like this? I'm genuinely curious because this is not something, you dream of doing usually, especially if you're a female. But, I mean, we girls are slightly more disturbed half the time, so I kind of understand it now. The older I get, the more I understand. Besides, I got a reply. A reply was simple. Working with corpses is easier because they're not alive, and that's it. I kind of understood what she meant there. There's no complaints, there's no bother, and there's no one to talk to. If you're an introvert, it's a perfect job for you, kind of. And if you have a strong stomach to boot. I remember laughing it off, but now, when I'm older, I kind of get it. I wonder if she ever made it. So Nikar, if you're watching, get in touch with me. Tell me about it. Are you good? So people usually don't want to know about such jobs and what's going down there at the morgue. And yet, you guys, all of you guys who passionately stay away from the subject, you should understand one thing. I'm not promoting this kind of skill. I'm not promoting this specific profession. I'm just saying somebody has to do these jobs, and they're important jobs. And in my opinion, they should be paid well because they're actually difficult. Sure, I mean, if you take a surgeon who has to operate on the living and a mortician who has to cut up the dead, obviously the harder task lies upon the surgeon who operates on the living because, the lives depend on that said surgeon. If something goes wrong, the surgeon's patients might become the mortician's patients. And we don't want that. So yeah, sure, it depends on what you compare it with. But in its own, it is, in my weird, perhaps, opinion, a very humanitarian job to do. Somebody has to do it and do it correctly. And I have huge respect for those people. It sounds morbid, but I don't know. It seems like such an overlooked profession, and I think that from time to time we should raise awareness. Just to be clear, I'm not trying to mock the profession by sharing a game with you guys that is intended to scare. This job is absolutely normal, like any other regular job. So at the end of the day, it is just a normal job that needs to be done. And we need to differentiate between the actual profession and the horrors that are depicted in this game. Okay, I hope we are clear on that, and that we will not associate these movies and the games I'll mention with the actual profession. So let's respect the morticians and mortuary assistants in real life and let them be. These films I'm going to mention that inspired the game and that are connected strongly to the game, in my opinion, they're horror. They're pure horror and shock value to boot. And one of the films that came to mind immediately once I sat down and, started thinking even about the script for this wee video Mortuary Assistant, yeah, sure. The Autopsy of Jane Doe comes to mind. It's a nice, spooky little movie. But Nacho Cerda's Aftermath, a 1994 short film that I do not recommend you ever watch. It is very stylized. It's a stylized picture, a Spanish flick. It's classified as underground horror, but in my opinion, again, this is a good, average, short, disturbing little film. A disturbing shocker, if you will. I mean, we just follow a mortician for about like half an hour and look at his day-to-day tasks. And well, his questionable actions in the morgue with the corpses. Just viewer discretion advised. Again, if you're under 18, fuck that, don't watch it. Just wait a wee bit till you're older, okay? I just don't want you to go out there and start Googling these films just because, well, Roe said so. I didn't. It's not safe. It's safe if you're 18 plus, and if you just want to see some stylized corpse go ahead, I won't stop you. While The Mortuary Assistant does not depict necrophilia, it draws on a similar conceptual terror, such as the invasion of something sacred and, well, final, the taboo of misconduct in mortuary spaces, and a fear around what happens after death. The mentioned Cerda's work, Aftermath, pushes visceral horror beyond jump scares, focusing instead on long-lasting psychological discomfort, something mirrored in the game's slow escalation of dread. And then the supernatural horror film, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, it centers on two coroners who begin an autopsy on an unidentified corpse that reveals bizarre internal anomalies and triggers inexplicable phenomena. Much like The Mortuary Assistant, it locates terror within mortuary procedures, uses a sterile, law-abiding environment as a setting for escalating supernatural dread. And, well, it emphasizes atmosphere over gore alone. I like it how both the films and the game, they transform this ordinary medical/forensic work into a gateway for psychological terror. I like the marriage that the two have, and I think it just works well. It works well as a nice little disturbing/horror game. Games like this can increase heart rate and hypervigilance, actually, especially when players perform mundane actions, such as, well, prepping a body, for example, right? Only to have the environment shift with little warning. Some players report feeling unease after gameplay sessions, especially when alone. Unlike fantasy horror, The Mortuary Assistant grounds its fear in the real world. Death, bodywork, and isolation are universally understandable fears. This can evoke a longer-lasting dread than stylized monster horror. So does this game go into the category of body horror? Well, not really, not entirely. I mean, it's more of a horror on a psychological level that is concentrating on this visceral nature of death and the absolutely adequate, normal fear that pretty much every human being has. Because we fear the unknown, and death is still a mystery to us, so being that close to the dead, like the actual dead, even if it's through the game, I think it can do something for you. It does get under your skin, and on one hand makes you respect the actual people who do this kind of job, and because it's kind of spooky, let's admit. But on the other hand, it leaves you questioning many things, even your own existence. I mean, I don't necessarily mean it in a bad way. It just makes you understand that we're not eternal, right? You see those dead schmucks on the table and you go, holy shit. Well, one day it might be me. That's depressing. But all of that depressing shit aside, it is a truly well done horror game that I highly recommend you play if you're okay with the subject matter, and have fun with it. Meanwhile, I thank you all so much for watching. If you like unorthodox content, please consider giving this video a boost in the form of an erect thumb, and make sure to subscribe for more. Take good care of yourselves and your loved ones, ladies and gentlemen, and I shall see you all as soon as possible. Cheers!